Are you looking for answers to the unknown? Welcome to Live with medium Lisa Phoenix and step into the magical presence of the metaphysical realm. Lisa will share the wisdom and musings from her own experiences, have intriguing conversations with other mediums and healers, in addition to exploring a wide array of topics and teachings on intuitive and mediumship development. Lisa will be taking your calls and inviting your friends and loved ones in the spirit world to share their stories with us. Raise your awareness as you are reunited on the level of love, and let's go live with medium Lisa Phoenix.
Hello, everybody, and happy Sunday. It's a wonderful day in Southern California. Welcome to the Live with Lisa Phoenix radio show. I'm Lisa Phoenix, your host, a medium and energy intuitive. My show is all about healing, mediumship, and energy management. And my special guest this morning is Courtney Kimmick, medium and spirit portrait artist. We're going to talk about a variety of things this morning. And if you want further information about the Live with Lisa Phoenix radio show, please visit my website at lisaphoenix.net. And I would also love it if you would go to my website once again and sign up for my Intuitive Insights newsletter, which will also add you to my mailing list. And please like me on Facebook. Now, let me share a little bit about Courtney with you. Courtney is a compassionate and accomplished medium, psychic, and Reiki 3 healer. She's a certified medium through Anne Reith, PhD, and continues to further her skills and deepen her connection with spirit by attending the prestigious Arthur Findlay College, UK, in addition to attending many workshops with great mediums, including Rita Berkowitz and Joanne Gerber. Courtney is best known for her ability to bring through accurate, evidential messages from loved ones who have crossed to the higher side of life. As a medium, she works with the spirit world using her abilities abilities of clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, and her artistic abilities to help bring you peace, closure, and healing. Courtney is also an accomplished spirit portrait artist. She allows her spirit team to work through her and assist her in drawing very accurate images of loved ones who have passed. These channeled portraits are astonishing, tangible, evidential proof that our souls do survive death and that our loved ones are watching over us always. Spirit portraits are a gift from spirit. Each piece holds love and healing energies, and the comfort it can bring is endless. Now, I want to encourage all of you to visit Courtney's website at www.CourtneyKimmick.com. That's CourtneyKimmick.com. Courtney, hi, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so very much. Oh, thank you. Hi, everybody.
I'm so happy to have you on this morning. And I'd love to start out for everyone who doesn't know you and doesn't know exactly what you do. Can you start out, tell us what Spirit Portrait is?
Sure. So as everyone knows, I'm a psychic medium. I'm here in Los Angeles. Spirit portrait art is taking mediumship kind of one step further. It's blending the spirit team, my spirit guides, the angels that I work with, and they kind of impress images and kind of guide my hands to draw the energies of your loved ones in the spirit world. So it's kind of like a gift from your loved one. It's you know, the ultimate proof of that life does survive death. And it's just a fun, amazing, gift that they give the living.
Wonderful. And can you share with us how you started on this journey? The whole journey
Sure.
of mediumship, and then that evolved into the spirit art.
Exactly. You know, it's funny because little me as a girl, I was never one of those people who saw dead people, were visited by ghosts, or any of that. But I was a very psychic child, and I was very intuitive. When I was little, elementary school, I would have dreams that would kind of come true the next day. I could just feel people's emotions, know situations. And, but for me, it was normal and it was just kind of every day and it always happened. So I never thought anything of it. As I got older, I was raised in an Italian Catholic household and, everything was called a miracle. And
Yes.
in my family, we had miracles happening all the time. So it was like, had I known that it was really mediumship and kind of an influence of the spirit world, we would be more the wiser. But I do believe that it's an inherited trait as well. My mother was a nurse and kind of a healer when she didn't know it. My grandmother on my dad's side was a very amazing clairvoyant and didn't really get what she was doing. She was an amazing psychic. And I actually have a sister who's a medium as well. And we kind of, in our older years, we kind of developed together through automatic writing. And it was just basically one day activity in the house was kicking up and things were happening. I was starting to have, some clairvoyant dreams. It's called remote viewing, where I had this vision of, say, the neighbors taking out the trash, and 5 minutes later that happens. And so I really just sat down in meditation with a pen and a paper and automatic writing, and away we went. And my sister, living 3,000 miles away, we kind of did it together. And that's when this door opened to the spirit world and I could start feeling energies. And as far as the drawings, right after the automatic writing and feeling the energies, I really one day was sitting there and I could see a 1970s photograph flashing in my mind's eye, kind of like a daydream. Mm-hmm. And it was such a strong urge that I knew I had to just sit down and draw the face of the person. And I had a clue of who it belonged to. So I sat down, I drew this 30-second sketch. I asked the person, who we were just talking about their loved one, to send me a photograph because I never met them and I wanted to see. And sure enough, it was her face, photographic likeness, the exact photo that I had seen in my daydream, so to speak. And off we went. It's been about 7 years since then.
Wow. And now, did you, did you have any artistic abilities?
Yes, I have. I've been an artist. I have a degree in fine art. Very talented as a child. So yes, I do believe the spirit world will use what we have as our gifts. And
I
so
agree,
yes, I've been an artist my whole life.
Wow. I think it's just amazing. And I do think that spirit uses what we possess, And so tell us a little bit more about spirit art, as far as are there different reasons that spirit comes through, or do they vary? Does it because you also give messages when you're doing the portraits? Is that true?
Oh, absolutely. So first and foremost, with my gifts, I am a clear channel. I can hear the voice of spirit, which we call clairaudience. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of, clairvoyant vision. So yes, I can feel the spirit and give you messages, detailed information, names, dates, how they died, where they lived, all the good stuff that mediumship delivers. So as I'm in the process, I'm also drawing at the same time. So I'm drawing and talking. And what I've learned is that, yes, the spirit world comes through for many different reasons. And just like we're all individual personalities, it's like that. They come through for the grieving, obviously. If your dearly departed mother has just passed, the mother will definitely come through, show her support, bring her portrait, wanting you to know that she supports, you and loves you from the spirit world. But fascinating enough, I'm also finding that sitters who come to a medium for a psychic reading, which is just, life information, guidance on work, job, love, right, relationships, their portraits that they get they're supported by their lineage in the spirit world. So we're talking 4th generation grandparents, 5th generation grandparents. So it's fascinating when you're with this person and you're giving them information and they're saying, no, no, no. I always say, hold all the information in your heart, take it with you, and we'll see what portrait comes about. And a lot of times these relatives from way past 1800s and it doesn't even matter as long as time, they come through specifically supporting one aspect of your life. Recently, I had a very sweet guy come in. He was a grad student. His sister had come to me for a reading for a specific thing, and he was just coming out of curiosity. And amazing enough, I drew his third generation grandfather, who was a businessman in his life, a prominent person. And this grad student, he is a professor. He's about to graduate and get a job, and he's, specifically working on, public speaking. So that was the link between the two. He didn't recognize all the information at first. It wasn't until he went home and was able to dig up the photographs that matched the portraits. And that it is amazing enough because it sets you on a path of who am I? Where did I come from? Where am I going? And how are my relatives in spirit really connected to me today? Because they want to help. They want to help ease your life and make it easier. But they also want to be recognized because you have to ask them for help. They don't want to meddle in your life,
right?
Our loved ones in spirit, but they really want it. They want you to acknowledge them, and they want you to get to know them because they can help you positively in your life today. It's really something.
Yes, and I think it's amazing. It seems like, I'm sure this has always been happening, but it seems, just in my own work, it seems like a lot of the other generations are coming forward too, because a lot of people right now are kind of ending cycles of
absolutely.
So there's a big healing factor, don't you think that?
Yes. And as a matter of fact, in my work over the past 2 months, it's all been about transitioning and changing and evolving. And I think that we all as a community and a human race, we're really raising the bar as far as going inside and searching our souls. How can I make myself happy? What are my goals in life and how can I get there? And I feel like people are really reflecting, and that's why we have this mix of our past generations in spirit really stepping up and saying, listen, get to know me, get to know your family history, because I am here and I'm supporting you in one way or another.
Yes, perfect. And everybody, we're coming to commercial break right now. Stay tuned. My special guest, Courtney Kimmick, medium and spirit artist. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Eros Evolution is where sexuality and spirituality meets. Join me, clinical sexologist Martha Tara Lee, on Eros Evolution on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Millisers, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio.
Welcome back, everybody. You're live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, Courtney Kimmick, medium and spirit artist. Courtney, I was just, as far as what we were talking about a minute ago about the healing aspect, I I think it's
Sure.
important for some of those relatives to come forward, because I feel as though sometimes, people that are they're like, why am I going through this? Do you know what I mean? Some like
Sure.
really heavy stuff, and they don't
Absolutely.
understand, and it can kind of like shift them onto a wrong path. And I think that it
Yes.
may have shifted some of the ancestors. Do you know what I mean? And so they kind of want to come
Yep.
through and say no. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I do. I do. As a matter of fact, I was working one day and I had a sitter come in, and they just they were, unbeknownst to me, they really wanted some psychic advice, which, comes from just life, relationship, all that stuff.
Right.
And I was bringing through, and the way I like to work is, even if it's psychic advice, which is just, life advice, I really like to get my information from our friends and guides in the spirit world. So as I was connecting with her energy and her aura, I was bringing through her father. And she shut that down. She did not like her father in life. Apparently he was not a very nice person. He had, was very emotionally abusing, and she didn't want to hear from him. So I put him aside, and we talked about what her life struggles were. And actually through the situation she was coming to see me for, which was a broken marriage after 30 years, there was an affair going on. But the point is that the dad related his personality and his energy and the experience she had with him kind of linked into her life. And it was kind of like a terrible cycle that she needed to break. And she connected the experience with her father and the way that he was, and the experience she was happening in her life and her marriage were similar, parallel. And even though she may perceived her father as an emotionally abusive person in life, he came back, from spirit, really learning life lessons himself, but wanting to guide her out of the situation to break the cycle. And, that was his cycle too from his father. So
right.
It's a trickle down effect. And that's another aspect of how spirit portraits, can really help and heal. And even with that even goes back to like people who are interested in like past life and future life and all of that. Our life cycles are clearly all connected, and that's why our loved ones, whether it be fourth generations back, they definitely come to help with our life, help us break cycles, and obviously create healing all around, not just for the loved ones in the spirit world, but definitely our loved ones here.
Gotcha. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I have another great story for when time allows.
Hear it. No, go for it.
Oh, good. So here's one of my most favorite stories of all, of the most random, how spirits can come through in the portraits and just smile upon us and make our day. I had this young girl, I had come to kind of a classroom situation where I was doing portraits for the students at a table. And this one 20-something-year-old girl, young mother, had moved into this rental house and was living next to this gentleman who had been in the neighborhood for 50 years. He was the neighborhood guy. His whole family grew up there, and he had recently passed away. Mm-hmm. She was fixing to go to the funeral a few days after, I had drawn this portrait for her. So at the table, I drew a portrait. We were talking about her grandmother, giving her messages, gave her the portrait of this beautiful woman. She looked at it and didn't quite recognize it as a family member, but she was happy and she loved having it. So she brought it home, stuck it on her bureau in her bedroom. A few days later, she went off on her life to the funeral of her beloved neighbor. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until after coming home from the funeral, at the funeral service, they give you the in memoriam card with the loved one picture. And the picture on the card was the neighbor's wedding picture of him and his wife. And the wife, Mary, had passed like 30 years prior. So she had been gone a very long time. She realized when she brought the memorial card home, set it on her dresser next to the portrait, and lo and behold, I had drawn Mary, the wife of the neighbor who had passed 30 years before him. And in essence, she just wanted to come through and say, thank you for being a good neighbor and taking care of him. And I have made the transition with him to the afterlife, and we're okay and well. And it was really just such an amazing just really an astonishing way that the spirit world can come through, just to even say thank you, for being a good neighbor and for, loving my husband as your neighbor, and I support you.
That's amazing. I got chills when you were sharing the story.
It's great. It's really amazing. So they really come through in all different types of ways.
Yeah, and I also think too, I think us as mediums realize this more than, say, people who aren't into this work. But the spirits will go to great lengths for the simplest things, don't you think?
Absolutely, they sure will. I recently, just a couple weeks ago, I was in my office. I had a long day of it was a quiet day. So I sat at the end of the day and I drew myself a portrait. I just wanted to see who was around. And I had drawn this gorgeous older woman. I knew she was a motherly figure. I knew she was connected to my office in some way, but no one around really recognized her. So I kind of tucked her aside and my life goes on. A few weeks later, I had this amazing session with a woman. Her mother had passed and she was elderly, the mother. But we had a wonderful healing session. I had drawn her a portrait of her mother in her death state. The mother was a gorgeous person in life, but towards the end, she really deteriorated into an unrecognizable figure. But the spirit mother really owned up to that, and she wanted her daughter to know that she owned that she, didn't look as pretty at the end, but she was a strong person, and she made it to the spirit world, and she's happy and healthy and supportive. So after this amazing experience, going back and forth on my private time with my clients, I had asked her to send me over a picture of the mother when she was healthy, just to honor her memory as she was when she was beautiful. And lo and behold, I had the woman who I had drawn in my office weeks before, all by myself, was the mother in her healthy state.
In the younger version, huh?
in the younger version. But it just goes to show you how they will go to great lengths. They will come and visit you a month before, and they will lead their loved one to you for the highest good and healing. And it's also for everyone out there. It's a reminder that, we're not alone on our journey, and we really there are kind of set plans for us. And if we just learn to trust and go with the flow, there's a bigger picture behind the scenes kind of mechanically working in our favor and leading us to wonderful things and great adventures if we're open to it. I feel like the individuals who have the best reading and the best, most accurate portrait, which we could talk about later, how the portraits kind of vary in energy.
No, that's perfect, because I actually I was going to ask you if, because in mediumship, it takes the connection of the three. It takes the sitter, medium, and the spirit world. So if we want to jump into that, that's great, because that was one of my next questions.
Exactly. It's the perfect segue into that. Well, I was going to say, so the people who have the best results are the people who just are the most loving, open, easy energy. And of course, we all want to believe that we're that, but really some of us can be quite complicated and not even realize it, but definitely the people who come from just the most humble, honest, loving, and lightest, energy field really have the best results. And when I say the best results, when it comes to the spirit portrait, it really is the soul of the loved one coming through my hands as energy onto the paper. And I have what I call spirit controls. There's spirit portrait artists on the other side that sit and help me and the person drawing from the spirit world to accomplish this on the paper. Sometimes if I'm having a struggle with energy between the trifecta of the sitter, me, and the spirit world, sometimes the portraits will come out kind of just, you see it in the eyes. The eyes are the window of the soul, so you'll always see your loved one in the eyes. But sometimes you'll get two spirits in one, and that's kind of a debate amongst us spirit artists in the field. Some people say that can happen. I know for a fact that it can. You don't want that. You really just want, the best result is a drawing that looks exactly like a photograph that you own. And a lot of times that does happen, and they'll draw the same outfit you have. If you only own one particular photo of the fourth generation great grandfather, he will draw that photo, which I've done many times. But sometimes, you gotta get through the energy between me, the sitter, and the spirit world, plus the gunk in between, the atmosphere in between. And somewhere in between, it can get lost in translation. I mean, I've had portraits where I'll think, oh my gosh, this looks like the portrait I just drew for somebody last week. I know I have a style that kind of gets in the way too.
Okay.
But so it's really a confusing mix of all of this. And it's up to me, the medium and the artist, to really try to work with my spirit team to hone this in and make it the best experience possible. I mean, there are some people that really just don't know any of their family history and might not ever be able to match their photo. And with that, I say, just having a spirit portrait, it is a blessing from the other side, and they do anchor love and healing energy to the paper. So even just having one in your home, it's kind of like a window right to the soul of your relatives or your loved ones or your friends or your family. But it also emanates healing in your home. It's quite magical. But yeah, the portraits, they're not always photographic likenesses. It's interesting. It really just depends on the connection, like a radio wavelength.
Right. And again, when you said earlier about people not being open or whatever, it's fine. Being open and quote unquote believing are two different things. Like if you've never experienced this before, right? Go ahead. I'll let you finish this. Are you there? Hello? Oh, I think we might be having technical difficulties. Yep, I need to get Courtney back, which we're coming up to a commercial break. So I will get her back during the commercial and all will be well. So stay tuned with us. In the next 6 seconds, we will be breaking for commercial. And at that time, we will get Courtney back. Are you there?
Yes.
You dropped off, which is fine. So let me go back.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah, about believing versus
the best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Come heal yourself. What is healing? Healing is nothing but connecting with your all-knowing higher self that already has solutions to all your problems and is always there to guide you. Through this show, we help you to connect with that you are and tap into that innate potential you have to transform your life and fly high. Please join me, your host Monica Goyal, every Sunday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Namaste.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. What if business could be fun? What if business is the adventure of living? What are you choosing? Where do you do business that makes it easier, more fun, or more joyful for you? We'd love to see where you do business. Connect with us on Instagram at Joy of Business or Twitter at Joy of Business, and share your pictures with hashtags BusinessDoneWhere and Joy of Business. Let's change the world with business.
Welcome to The Gathering Around My Kitchen Table on Equilarium FM, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join my guests as we integrate spirituality into everyday reality with vibrant conversations, inspired interviews, and my latest channeled guidance to inspire and brighten your day. I'm Claire Johnson, and together we'll be raising vibrations across the nations.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids.
Welcome back, everybody. You're live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, Courtney Kimmick, medium and spiritual portrait artist. And I got her back again. As you know, previously she fell off for a minute. So, Courtney, let's just move right on. We were talking about you don't necessarily have to believe to be open. If you don't.
That's right. I'm sorry about that. Yes, you don't have to believe to be open. It's definitely two different things. When I say, openness, I was sharing a quick story about a young gal who was very petrified of getting a reading, and she ended up having the most beautiful messages come through from her loved ones and an amazing portrait from her fourth generation grandfather who really was supporting her emotional process of just coming from another grad student, stepping into her own. And, anyone, you don't have to believe, you just have to be open. And when I say that sometimes people come in and they're open. And even if they are a believer of this work that we do, if they're harboring any kind of guilt or, maybe they got into an argument with somebody that week and just their mind is just clouded with, other ego kind of feelings and life feelings, that can block the process. It's interesting. We all have a personality. We all have all types, and I'm sure one day we'll learn the whole answers. And it's funny how energy works. We really don't know. We can only try to set the intention that we're open and we have the best results. But anything can block us. Fear, depression, medication. Even if you think that you're an open, there's lots of factors. But you definitely don't have to believe her to get the best results. Some of the best results I've done are people who are curious, who kind of are skeptical, but deep down in their soul, they're open, so they get the best results. It all depends.
Yeah, it's like they have the heart of children. Do you know what I mean? They're just...
Yeah, exactly. they're just pure to the soul. If we all could be like that, the world would just be rainbows and butterflies, right? But
well.
Well, and also that's why I think our generational loved ones come through, because they want you to know that where you came from and who you are, as far as your family is really important. And it goes back to past life, present life, and future life. It's all kind of strung together. And it's all for the greater healing and the greater good of all mankind.
Yeah, and your life can help make your life easier too. So
it can.
Yes. So
it really can.
I wanted to ask you about, because, these days there's a lot more people that are becoming energetically more open, and when you had started with this work and everything, I wanted you to go, because, there's the people who are interested in, connecting with their relatives, but there's also the people that are they're opening up and they're wanting to embark on their own journeys and stuff like that. And you seem like you, on your journey, it started out, you talked about when you were young and you really didn't know what was going on and everything was a miracle and stuff. And then as you are today, how did you develop that confidence in knowing, what are your strong points, who you are, what direction? How did you develop that?
Oh, that's a really great question. So in my life personally, I've had a lot of sadness as a child. My mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, when I was in second grade. And I talk a lot about this on my website. I spent my whole childhood trying to save my mother. Every day we learned how to live moment to moment. Life is precious. We've watched her struggle, medications, chemotherapy, radiation. The cancer keeps coming back. And finally, after a 10-year battle in 1991, she passed away when I was 17. And between 17 and in my 20s, I think I cried every day, just begging the universe, if I could have one more second with my mother, I would give anything. I would do anything. And sometimes in my heart of heart, I really believe that people who, have deep grief and loss or struggles in their early life, our loved ones in the spirit world really bless us with these gifts. And growing up, I did have a lot of experiences, like hearing somebody say hello to me. I've had cars move when they've broken down on the side of the road on their own. I've had balloons follow me in my house. I've had stuffed animals appear on the couch watching the TV. And all of this, I kind of chalked up to my mom's spirit being with me.
Gotcha.
But little did I know, it was the spirit world kind of gearing up for these gifts. So, I take this work very seriously, and with that, I feel very blessed that I'm now reconnected with my mother, who I need so much in my life. You know what I mean? Especially as a mother.
Right.
But I feel like all of these things kind of shape me. And as far as my gifts today, I really take to heart, and I'm very humbled by it, and I really take seriously every drawing and every reading that I give. And I'm not perfect. There's some days where I sit with someone and I don't know who I'm drawing or what I'm saying, I just throw my hands in the air up and I say, I don't even know where I'm going with it. But so I just, in my own development, I know to just sit quietly and look inside. And at the end of the day, if it feels good to you on your own development, that's what you move forward on. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I did. And again, because you find people now that are somewhat stepping out in this work, though, they can get confused as to, and confidence seems to play a big role in lack of confidence.
And you know what? And I kind of struggle with that too. I have to say, especially living in LA, there is a huge professional spiritual community out there who, they want to be famous, they want to be on stage, and they are very showy and they're very active and they're very good. And that kind of throws me off a little, because I would love to be that, but I'm very much, shy and like afraid to be on a stage of like 1,000 people. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But I do think the veil is thinning, and there's a lot more people realizing out there that the universe is more than just what we can physically see and tangibly touch. I think it's just really keeping your ego in check. I feel like taking classes and educating yourself in all aspects of this work. Definitely working from a professional standpoint with integrity, and just kind of taking day by day. Like, I know I'm very good at what I do, but I also am very careful to do the best that I can and be coming from a place of, my heart. I say for people who are on their journey, to continue on their journey. There's definitely misconceptions. I love the healing community, and I love that when people I feel like a lot of people nowadays start with the energy healing and hands-on healing and hands-off healing. And I think that's amazing. But a lot of them, look to Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael, who are the great known healers in our field. But you have to realize that that's all great, and they do help us. But we also have a very intelligent network of family members on the other side, our loved ones, even though you've never met them. And spirit teams, I call them spirit controllers, that work with us. And you have to open your mind to all of that as well and incorporate that. And that's how you're going to grow. Seeing kind of the big picture and not kind of seeing just what you want to see as far as working in this field. Does that make sense?
No, I think it's great advice. And you also, I heard you say it earlier when we were talking, you always kind of look at yourself as a student.
Yes.
And that, go ahead.
Absolutely. And I'm always learning. And I just had an amazing learning lesson this week. I was home, I was doing these portraits, and I was going back and forth with clients, and oh my gosh, their relatives are popping up. And then I thought, well, I'm going to stop right now and just draw for myself on my kids, white paper that's on a big board in my home. And I drew this most amazing spirit who is one of my spirit art controllers in the spirit world. And she's drawn herself before 3 years ago. And you can almost see the spirit controllers that I draw that have come through many years, the portraits that I draw for people kind of have that look of the spirit controller. So it's always a learning lesson, and it humbles me, and it teaches you a lot that there's so much more going on, in the afterlife. They do want to help us and guide us. And if you can just tune into that and just a little bit by bit and see what the universe is giving to you, that's going to kind of set you off on your journey. Never in a million years did I ever think that I would be drawing portraits for people of their deceased relatives and healing so much. My whole life was about, how am I even going to live without my mother in my life, And now I can take all of that and know that there's something bigger and better, and I can bring that to others and help and heal. And I think that we all have that ability within ourselves. You just have to look inside and see and feel, what your talents are, what your strengths are, and build upon that. Some people are great healers. Some people work with crystals. Some people are amazing meditative, doing things with meditation. It just all depends.
Well, and that's so, I just find that as I'm listening to you talk, I just find that so amazing that, you were like asking and you spent the majority of your childhood life trying to heal your mother, and your mother's passed, but you guys have combined now. You're working together to heal, the rest of the world, which I think is amazing.
Absolutely. And that helps me also. And going back to how our grandparents teach us things, I've learned in my field and being able to draw the energies of my ancestors. I had a grandfather on my mother's father's side who's 5th generation back, 18 something. He helps me in my life today. And it's possible in a past life that I could have been a child of his who died young to teach them a lesson. And in my life today, my mother passed young to teach me a lesson. So it kind of, when you can connect your soul's journey, and even if it's just everyday life, it just becomes an amazing learning experience. Plus it's fun just for people who aren't in the business, and really, even just for anyone who just wants to see who's watching over them or just curious. It's just fun to get to know your ancestors and start that path of the family tree.
Yes.
You learn a lot about yourself either way.
Yes. You're listening to Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, Courtney Kimmick, medium and spirit portrait artist. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hey ladies, do you want to have that good hair day feeling all the time? Gentlemen, would you want your special someone to have that glow, letting you know she's feeling completely satisfied? This feeling and that glow can be yours by embracing your sexual power. So join me, Rachel Kenley, award-winning romance author, on the O-Spot. The O-Spot will guide you to that peak with guest interviews, book discussions, and conversations on the thrills of sexual empowerment. Put the zing back in your life. Come up and see me sometime on the O-Spot, live on Hump Day at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com. and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Are you ready to shift your energy, consciousness, and limiting beliefs? Join me, Shefali Burns, every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern on Shifting with Shefali here on OMTimes Radio. Shift the blocks, limitations, and negative energies that have kept you from experiencing a life filled with joy, peace, love, abundance, and happiness. Are you ready to shift with Shefali? Are you ready to shine your brilliance?
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back, everybody. You're live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, Courtney Kimmick. Courtney, I want to ask you, if you could share with all our folks out there anything you wanted to talk to them about the spirit world, what would it be?
Oh, gosh. Well, I think that one amazing thing in my life that I've realized about the spirit world is you don't have to be a medium. You don't have to go to a medium or a psychic. It's really, the magic happens all around us all the time. In our gardens, the butterflies, the birds will come and visit us. How many times have you seen that? In your own home, just, sitting around and maybe you see some change on the floor that wasn't there before. That's a gift from the spirit world. It's very subtle things. And I think letting go of trying to rationalize all things that you can't rationalize and just go with the flow and know that our loved ones are always trying to give us messages. When the lights go out or the TV flickers or, when you're thinking of a loved one and the chandelier shuts off and comes back on. It's just all little signs of magic in our lives. Just a simple story that I just love. I talk about my children a lot. I have 2 little girls that I love very much. And in my home, we have a lot of magical things. They love fairies, and we make a fairy garden, and we set that intention of love and light. And we had an amazing experience with the tooth fairy. My daughter had 3 teeth pulled, and
wow.
I know, and this is traumatic for me, as I hated the dentist as a kid. And, being the dutiful parents, we wanted to provide, a tooth fairy experience as we all do as grown-ups. And my intention was that the tooth fairy was going to deliver her a $5 bill. And unfortunately, at 8 o'clock at night, we did not have a $5 bill. My husband handed me 4 $1 bills in my hand. I wrapped them up. I put them in a cup. The kids were in bed. Later on, we snuck in there and were sneaky tooth fairy. And I put the money underneath a little tooth fairy statue in their room. The very next morning, my child comes out of bed and says, "Mom, I got $9 from the tooth fairy." And I said, "What do you mean you got $9? Who gets $9 from the tooth fairy?" And sure enough, I took the money out of her hand, and in the middle of the rolls of the $4 bills was a $5 bill.
Wow.
And it shocks me every time, the wonder and amazement of that the spirit world can provide. Every portrait that I draw, it just shocks me every time. I had a lady say to me, "I'm surprised that you're always so surprised when I get the results back of the portraits, because it's shocking. It's just humbling. And the thing that I can just impart with everyone is that just to open your eyes, there's magic all around us. You don't have to be special. You don't have to believe. You just have to open your eyes and just embrace the universe, and it'll give us amazing signs and recognitions, not just from our loved ones, but it's just so empowering, I think.
Yes. And can you go ahead, tell us what you've got coming up?
Great. So in the Los Angeles area, I do work with the public. I do public demonstrations where you can come for like $20 a seat and sit in an audience and just experience messages from spirit and spirit portraits. I will be at the Gateway Portal down in LA, kind of on the west side. That is March 26th at 1 o'clock for 2 hours. We'd love to see you there. And also, I will be April 30th at the Impart Wisdom and Wellness Center in Santa Ana, California, doing another demonstration of spirit portraits and mediumship, as well as June 4th at the Center for Spiritual Living in La Crescenta, Glendale area. I will have a little booth where I will be doing portraits and readings for the public from 10 to 4 for a very cheap price.
Awesome. And then you also you are also at the Alexandria, right?
Yes, absolutely. And of course, every Wednesday, I have a little office at Alexandria 2, a metaphysical bookstore in Pasadena off Lake Street. And I'm there every Sunday from 11 to 4 and every Wednesday from 10 to 2.
Okay. And then do you do private readings as well?
Oh, absolutely. If you have a little group, private readings, absolutely. All my information is on the website. You can contact me anytime, go on my calendar events and see where I'll be. But absolutely, I do private parties and events.
Awesome. And that's wonderful. I have enjoyed so much having you on the show today. It's just been amazing. And I really thank you for helping all of us understand a little bit more about the other side. You know, I, like you, think it's the most amazing and incredible thing. You know, and it's wonderful to help other people understand what it really is without all the myths and the, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's really common. It's really quite interesting and common sense. But thank you so much, Lisa. I had a great time. Just lovely to speak to you all. Absolutely.
Yes. And as I mentioned earlier to all of you out in Radioland, I really would suggest you visit Courtney's website at www.CourtneyKimmick.com. That's CourtneyKimmick.com. I want to once again thank all of you listeners out there for hanging out with us today. If you want further information about the Live with Lisa Phoenix radio show, please visit my website at lisaphoenix.net. That's LISAPHOENIX.net, or email me directly at info@lisaphoenix.net. Again, I'd love if you would all go to my website and sign up for my Intuitive Insights newsletter, which will add you to my mailing list. And currently, Live with Lisa Phoenix and the Beyond Time Radio Show are sharing a Facebook page. So please go to Beyond Time Radio Show on Facebook to like me. Live with Lisa Phoenix is on every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 10 a.m. Pacific Time. So please tune back in with us next week. Thank you so much. Have a great day.